This is a really good idea. Haloview just released this product. It's going to consolidate up to 3 different systems that a lot of RVers currently have in their tow vehicle. 3 systems that I personally believe in and I won't RV without, and it combines all that information into one monitor. Let's take a walk out to the truck and I'll show you how the system works. Haloview has traditionally been known as a backup camera manufacturer. What I like about this system is they've added a tire pressure monitoring system. Because this system gives you the ability to record your camera footage on a micro SD card, you can also use this in conjunction with a forward-facing dash camera, and all of this is on one screen that isn't blocking my view of the road. There is something I don't like about this system. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people, but I do think it's something we need to start seeing on tire pressure monitoring systems. Let's start with the backup camera. If you aren't aware, I already installed a Haloview backup camera and I already released a video on how to do that. So I'm not going to get into the step-by-step installation process. Instead, today I want to cover the capabilities of this system. If you want to see that procedure, I will link to our installation video down below so you can watch it later. What I do want to show you though is that while the Haloview BT7 cameras won't fit in the Furion batwing shroud that you see coming on many RVs, it will cover all the holes left behind after removing the shroud. So just remove the batwing. I would recommend throwing a dab of ProFlex sealant in the old holes, even though Haloview gives you a rubber gasket. Line up the rubber gasket so it's covering the existing holes. Mark where the new holes will be. I would also recommend drilling slightly smaller pilot holes before inserting the screw. This will prevent the fiberglass from splitting. Connect the wires, install the screws by hand, and your backup camera is done. Now this system gives you the ability to install up to 4 cameras. In addition to the backup camera, I also installed a side marker camera to kind of help out with the passenger side blind spot. I mounted my screen on the center of the dash so I don't have to move my eyes as far away from the windshield. I'm not saying you shouldn't use your mirrors, but you do have a better peripheral view of the road ahead at the monitor than you do looking out the passenger side door. I've also seen enough videos and stories where people are disputing fault in accidents, so I added a forward-facing dash cam in the truck. I have one more slot available. I might actually put a camera somewhere on the front of the trailer looking down at the tongue. My Dodge backup camera screen is not only small, but the resolution isn't that great, so this might make lining up to hook up a little bit easier. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the 4th camera slot, but I will keep you guys posted. Once you have your cameras installed, this monitor will give you a lot of viewing options. You can obviously view each camera one at a time. You also have a lot of split screen format options, as well as the ability to place the cameras at different locations within those split screens. You can have the monitor start recording as soon as you power up the screen, or manually turn recording on or off at your discretion. You can change the shape of the grid lines or just disable them altogether. The cameras have microphones, LED spotlights if you're backing into a campsite at night. You can even play back the footage right on the screen if you want to see something and don't have your computer with you. They give you pretty much everything you think you would probably need from a backup camera system. And on top of that, the image quality on Haloview systems is very clear. Let's move over to the tire pressure monitoring system. If you never used or installed a TPMS before, most of these will come with at least one signal booster. These just grab the signal from the tire sensor and shoot it up to the monitor in the truck. Now, Haloview gives you 2 range boosters for longer RVs. The manual shows you everything, but in most cases, these get installed near the front of the trailer, which is usually about halfway between the axles and where the monitor sits in the cab. Also, the term booster can be a little bit misleading. These are a necessary part of the system, so at least one of these needs to be installed for everything to work. They put double-sided tape on the back. That's very generous of them, but guys, do not use this as a primary mounting source. It will not hold very long, being that it's outside. There are mounting tabs that you can use to screw this into something solid. I always just wire tie these to the harness, being that they don't really have much weight to them. In fact, I'd much rather use ties instead of drilling into the frame. Just make sure the booster is tight, and whatever it's tied to is tight after the booster is mounted. I ran the wires up to the battery, crimped on ring terminals, and connected right onto the battery posts. Once you have it connected to a constant 12-volt source, you will see a green power light on the booster. Next, we're going to install the tire sensors. The manual will show you a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to show you in this video how to use the auto program mode because it's the easiest and the fastest. First, install the batteries they provide, then remove your valve stem caps from all your tires. Thread a locking nut on each valve stem until it's all the way down. Next, open your TPMS menu by either clicking this icon here or the TPMS icon in the menu options. Make sure you're on T1 for trailer 1. We'll talk about this more in a minute. Touch the location where you want to install the first sensor. Then down below where it says auto learn, just tap the area with all the zeros and it will change to waiting. You have 15 seconds to screw on any one of the sensors on that tire. Once it's on, the screen will beep and you will see that it has learned that sensor. Repeat that process for the remaining sensors, and if you don't need to add air to the tires, just back off the tightening nut as if you're removing it, snug it against the sensor using the supplied wrench, and now your sensors are locked onto the wheel. So it is somewhat of a theft prevention device. However, again, they're not needed for the system to work. When you use auto learn to program the sensors, it automatically calculates your upper and lower pressure limits, which are 120% and 85% respectively. These are the limits a TPMS uses to provide high and low pressure alerts, but you can manually change these at any time in this menu by just clicking in the box and using the keypad to enter a new value. You can install 11 sensors on your tow vehicle, including a spare tire sensor, then 7 sensors on your trailer, also including a spare tire. In addition to that, they give you the ability to switch to 2 other trailers, which you would access by clicking T2 or T3. Then once you're driving, your tire sensor readings will constantly cycle through each tire on the top right of the screen. You have the option to reduce the opacity of this icon as well as turning it completely off. If you already have Haloview BT7 cameras, they will work with the BT7 TPMS system. You will just need to upgrade to the TPMS monitor, which comes with 4 sensors, and just reprogram the cameras to the new monitor. Just select the slot you want the camera to be at on the monitor, go into the menu, click the pairing icon, then hit the pairing button on the camera. It's just such a simple system to set up and use. Okay, there is one thing that I don't like about this system. So let's say your truck is not connected to your trailer and you drive away. Your monitor will continue to cycle through the sensors. It's also going to continue showing readings. So why does this matter? The RV is parked at the campground 5 miles away from where you are at with the truck. It's rare, don't get me wrong, but there are situations where the wheel can be disconnected from the hub while you're traveling. Not only have a few people told me this happened to them, but a lot of them mentioned that they didn't even notice that they were missing a wheel until they pulled over and saw that it was missing. In that situation, if the tire stays intact and it doesn't lose any pressure, the sensor is not going to issue an alert. Now, I know TireMinder doesn't issue alerts for out-of-range sensors. You guys have told me that TST doesn't either. So it's not something I think Haloview is behind the curve on, but I do think it's something we need to start seeing on tire pressure monitoring systems. If you have a TPMS that alerts you when the sensors are out of range, please let me know the make and model of the system you have down in the comments below. If you want to order any Haloview products, I will put links down below. Click the link to get over to the website, then use the code RVTIPS at checkout to get 5% off your order plus free shipping. I'll also put links to the monitor mounting kit I used on my dash if you have a Dodge. That's going to do it for today. I hope you consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.